Since the last time we talked, I have a lot more consistency and stability in my life of feeling better.
Your point of attraction is more by deliberate intent rather than knee-jerk response to what you are observing. Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Good. Next.
And as part of that, what has my attention a lot of the times, and I would like more ease in aligning and maintaining my alignment to more easily achieve or allow more of what's in my vortex.
Then you have to be a better selective sifter. If you're just observing with so much in this world to observe, then you could be bouncing all over the place in terms of your emotional response to it. And your point of attraction, therefore, is fluctuating, not consistent, not momentum. You get where you're trending with your thoughts. You see, because your ability to translate the vibration of this universe through your physical senses is so keen. What you see is a translation. You see it, hear it, smell it, taste it, touch it. It is compelling. We get why you want to observe through your physical senses. There's lots of wonderful stuff to observe. But if you were observing the not so wonderful stuff and then taking the stance of, I don't want that, you're including it in your mix. And that's what makes you feel like you're having a sort of rough ride. And that's why you say, I want to do a better job of getting what's in my vortex or being a vibrational match to the vortex version. So just briefly, we know you're up to speed for the most part, but we like to talk about 3 important steps of creation. The first one is ask. And that's what your observation does. By knowing what you don't want, you know what you do want. But if you're looking a lot as you look around at what you don't want, and you're not doing anything about then deliberately focusing upon what you do want, you're just observing what you don't want, then your habit of attraction, your trending, becomes getting more of what you don't want, getting more of what you don't want. And it doesn't need to be that way. Step 2 is when you ask, and when you're observing and knowing what you do want, that's asking. When you are observing and knowing what you don't want, that's asking too. Because isn't it obvious and implied, if I don't want that, I do want that? In other words, that's what this contrasting universe is about for you. So as you observe, even if you're sloppy about it, even if you're doing it by default rather than by deliberate intent, still you're shooting off rockets of desire that indicate precisely your preference. And your inner being, who remains non-physically focused, even though you came forth into this physical body, that source energy, inner being, soul part of you, rides your rockets of desire and focuses upon those things that you are asking for, even when you are not. And that is the reason that you ever feel negative emotion, or positive emotion for that fact. Because your inner being is always focused upon what you want. And if you are sloppily, and it's all right, focused otherwise. So your inner being is focused upon what you are asking for. And if you are focused upon what you've got rather than upon what you want, upon what is rather than what you're in the process of creating, then there is a vibrational variance between your inner being's laser focus on what you want and your not so laser focus not on what you want. And that's what the negative emotion is all about. Then step 3, that's our favorite step. That's what we're all here about. Step 3 is where you get better at calibrating to what your inner being is focused upon. That's all. We don't want you to stop looking around, and we don't want you to stop knowing what you don't want. It's all part of it. We just think it would be a good idea if you could remember something that most humans are not recalling. And that is, you get what you think about whether you want it or not. It's just the way the law of attraction works. And the law of attraction is the vibrational, magnetic force of this universe. You just cannot get around it. If you are feeling not prosperous, And therefore, everywhere you look, there's evidence of your lack of prosperity. You got to do something to change that focus and change that emotion, or your reality cannot change to match your request. It keeps matching whatever it is you've got going on. For a long while, we called this the science of deliberate creation, because we want you to be purposeful about what you focus on. We want you to control your own point of attraction. Do you know you can? You can control your point of attraction, which means you can control everything that comes to you, which means not just the big stuff that comes, the things that you really think would make your life sing if they came. You can control timing of things, rendezvousing of things, observation of things, contemplation of things, things that you are recalling or remembering. The way you sync up with this world and the inhabitants of it is awesome when you are in sync with your inner being first. And why is that? Because your inner being remains, we've not said this to you before, your inner being remains constantly in vibrational calibration to everything that you have asked for, everything that you have therefore vibrationally become. So it's just a matter of caring about how you feel enough to control your own focus. And we'll be talking about lots of ways to do that all day here today. You have something specific you want to talk about?
Well, we can go specific, but before that, in response to what you just shared, I think about the allowing process. And when I focus on something that
And what is it that you are allowing? The allowing process allows what? It allows full connection to your inner being and your inner being's point of attraction, which includes everything you want. That's what you're allowing. You're allowing yourself to be calibrated to your inner being so that you get in on the energy that creates worlds. You become an allower of everything that you've already vibrationally become. That's a big, big deal. That's everything. That's everything. And without it, it's just a sort of crapshoot, isn't it? It's sort of whatever you're focused upon is sort of what's coming to you, and you feel like you don't have control when you do.
I feel like I suck at that.
Well, that doesn't help.
I knew you were going to say that, but it's where I'm at.
We didn't want to let you down. You don't suck at that. You are good at all of this. You are like most humans who observe what is more than you focus upon how you would like what is to be. If you're focusing on what is and you're trending about what is, it's slow to change. But if you focus upon what is long enough to know what you would prefer in this situation, in this instant, in this subject, in this category, and your inner being is focused upon all of those improvements, every one of them, then when you, because you want to feel good, focus in ways that you do feel good, so that you calibrate to the frequency of that point of attraction. We want to make this clearer. We're going to do a real sales job here, because you get what you think about, but you know what? You're not the only one who is thinking on behalf of you. You, in your physical bodies, in your human body, in your personality that you know as you, is an extension of a you that is eternal, that non-physical source energy you. So when you focused into your physical body, the larger part of you remained non-physical. And this is something that most humans don't understand. That larger part of you is focused with you while you're in your physical body, but has a different vantage point. And here's what it is. That non-physical you, that source energy, God force you, knows your value, knows your worthiness, knows who you are, and knows why you're here, and knows everything you lived and everything you asked for, and is focused unequivocally on the sum total of everything that you have vibrationally become since you came into this physical body. That's a whole lot of support. That's a whole lot of source energy that is focused with you. When you have a conversation with someone about politics or about what's going on in somebody's family or about some situation that they're living, you have an opinion about it based upon what you've lived and what you've come to know, but so does your inner being. And your inner being's opinion about the subject that is at hand with you in every moment in time is a powerful point of positive attraction. And if you're not in sync with the optimism that your inner being knows, you feel crummy. If you're focused upon things going poorly when your inner being is knowing that things going poorly are what made you ask for something more, and your inner being is focused upon the more, that's how you can tell 100% of the time that you feel negative emotion. 100% of the time that you feel negative emotion, your inner being has a different point of view about whatever it is you're thinking about. And the thing that we want so much for you to get from this conversation is that when you sync up, when you calibrate with the perspective of your inner being, then you sync up with that point of attraction, that energy that creates worlds, and magnificent, masterful, by most human standards, amazing, massive things flow into your experience. That's who you are. That's what you intended. Your inner being knows where you stand in your humanness in relationship to everything you want. And your inner being knows the path of most allowance or the path of least resistance is the same path for you to get to where you want to be. So when you suck at lining up with your inner being, we say, get over that. Nothing matters more than that point of view. So what is it that makes you or anyone, Esther does it too sometimes, why would you cling to a point of view? Why would you defend a point of view about something that you're observing that isn't what you want? You have lots of reasons. You say, because it's real, because it happened, because it's true. And we say, if it feels bad, it's not what your inner being is calling true. It's where you may temporarily be on your way to your worthiness. In other words, when you think about, and we'll talk about this here today, when you think about how negative emotions feel to you and what they are about when you're feeling them, almost always, as you poke around a little bit, you have some feeling of not enoughness or incapability or unworthiness that you are feeling defensive about. And that defensiveness, that determination to be right rather than feel good, that'll keep you sucking at alignment forever, or as long as you're in this physical body. But I know that it happened, and so shouldn't I focus upon it? And we say, not unless you want it to continue to happen. But aren't I supposed to tell it like it is? Well, there is value in knowing where you stand in relationship to where you want to be. But it is so much more beneficial to you and source-like to you to focus upon where you're now going as a result of that experience that you've lived. Give us an example of something that you want that you feel that you suck at alignment about.
Just go with something like really practical that we can sink our teeth into, I guess, like paying off my student loan balances. You know, they've just been nagging at me for years, and they're expanding rather than shrinking.
All right, so did you hear him? And did you feel it? Some resonate with it. So it's something that isn't the way you want it to be. And you spoke about it as future tense, paying them off. So what is it about being free of that debt that is so appealing?
Feels like more freedom, more ease. All
right, now when you say more freedom, it implies less freedom. So let's put the emphasis on the freedom part. It feels like freedom. Freedom from what? Freedom from negative thought about the bills. That's what the freedom is from. The freedom that you think you will accomplish by no longer having the debt. The reason for that negative emotion is not because of the debt. It's because you see it as debt and therefore wrong and therefore unwanted. And your inner being sees it as part of your journey, as part of your progress, of something that helped you along the way, that was there when you needed it, that gave you benefit, that gives a lot of people benefit, that was part of your point of attraction at the time. Your inner being is not pushing against that debt. And when you do, you suck at alignment.